Rockets are on right now. You see how many people are contributing on their team, not just James like we talked about, but just a reminder, they're doing this with Chris Paul dealing with the hamstring injury, which I feel like is being overlooked.
Yeah, you're totally right. And now you got to give credit to Austin Rivers, who's kind of taking over the other ball handling duties and also other guys on their team. And I want to ask Brendan Haywood, because this is his area. We know Clint Capella is a guy who's great hands, dive, and dunk, but the numbers on the rebounding, that's not James Harden. Talk to me what he's done from the first couple of years to start to get these type of numbers.
I think the biggest thing for Clint Capella when you watch him, he's active. And you rarely see possessions that he takes off from a rebounding standpoint. He's always hitting the offensive glass. He's chasing the ball down. And I love rebounders that can rebound outside of their area. You played against guys like Kevin Garnett that were excellent at boxing out on one side of the rim and going and chasing the ball all the way to the other side. Those guys that are truly special rebounders, and that's why Clint Capella can rebound so well. He's a next-level athlete, and he has a really high motor.
And he keeps moving. And as a defender,
Yes.
do you want to chase a guy around all game and then into overtime? I mean, you have moments where you take breaks. And when you have an active player like that, that's when he can catch you just a few times a game. That can really make a difference. So James Harden, this sparks all sorts of conversation about where he stands as the best offensive player of all time and in the MVP race. And our own Roz Gold tweeted, she said, I asked James Harden if he consciously is hungry for winning another MVP. And he said, I need it. I need it for sure. And I'm going to get it.
I love it.
Love it.
You guys believe it?
I love it.
You know, and obviously Brendan said the best, and we all know that when we were, talking to our meeting. You got to win games to be the MVP, and so that means he has to understand that he's going to elevate his team to get back to at least 3 in the Western Conference to have a conversation to get there. And the numbers he's putting up, though, right now, he's jumped up to that ladder for me as number 1 as of right now.
I love the comment. Now James does have a lot of haters. There's a lot of people that hate James Harden for some reason.
Well, I'm not going to lie. When he sits there on camera and says, you're witnessing greatness, how can you not tell that you're watching greatness? And I don't want to misquote him, but I get a little bit put off by it. And I love confidence. I love watching Joel Embiid talk trash. I love that part of the game. I think it's so fun. But there is a part of his confidence that irks me a little bit when I watch it. It's just a natural instinct.
I don't think that it's all cockiness. I think he's tired of hearing about people talking about other things besides these numbers and the win streak. James Harden is winning basketball games, scoring 45 nights in a row, 35 or better, 9 nights in a row. That's incredibly hard to do. And all we have is some people that get up on set and talk about how many times he gets fouled, his usage, he dominates the ball. Guess what? Who else do you want to dominate the ball? If James Harden isn't shooting it, do you want Clint Capella creating his own shots? No, you do not. James Harden is playing great. His team is winning right now, and he says that because he's mad that too many people are taking the focus off the fact I'm playing excellent. I've played my way back into the MVP race, and all people want to talk about is how many times I get fouled. So I don't mind the comments, and I also think his comments about MVP get misconstrued. A lot of people think that means he also doesn't want to win a title. It doesn't have to be one or the other. Just because he said he wants to be MVP doesn't mean he doesn't want to be an NBA champion as well.
For me, he's getting fouled.
Yeah,
he creates the contact, and for me,
stop fouling.
The one thing is impressed me is, I've played in the league, you play in the league, Brendan, to be able to take that many hits and still have that much left to be able to knock down threes with that. You talk about a guy, even though he creates a lot of space, he's getting doubled, he's getting tripled. He has to beat his guy when he drives and beat the second and third guy. And to be able to do that and shoot 90, 89, 90% and also be able to carry the team, it's phenomenal what we're watching right now.
Well, it's one thing to do it now before the All-Star break. But as we've seen in the past, he runs out of fume late in the playoffs because of the usage, because of the hits, because of the amount of minutes. As a coach, as a teammate, as James Harden, how do you manage being ready and being elite in the postseason, but also knowing I have to carry my team out of this funk the way we started the season, and I do want to play at an MVP level?
I don't think you can manage it. The Western Conference isn't somewhere where you can say, hey, we're going to manage your nights, we're going to manage your reps, we're going to manage your usage.
Unless you're, in the past, unless you're Golden State.
Yeah, Golden State can do that. They have 4 studs. Houston, it's James Harden. He's a one-man band. Last night, that was like watching old school Batman with Adam West take on the Joker, the Penguin, and all his bullies. That's what it was like. And so James Harden really can't afford to sit out games, or he can't afford to have low usage, because do you want Daniel House creating his own shots? No. Do you want to give Gerald Green the ball 15, 17 times a game? No. You want the ball in James Harden's hands. With Chris Paul out, they have to give him high usage. Will he do it in the playoffs? I don't know. But James Harden we might be witnessing the greatest regular season run in a 2 to 3 year span that we've ever seen from the 2-guard position.
And I totally agree. I think the one thing he should do, and he must do, Brendan, to get over that hump in the playoffs, he's going to have to trust his teammates more. And his usage is going to be still the same thing, and you're going to have to empower those guys. Because if they have guys making 13, 14 points from Austin Rivers, Gerald Green has to be consistent. Daniel House has to be consistent. Austin Rivers has to be consistent. If he can get those guys to where they believe and they're going to trust in him, and he does get it off and pass it a lot, just got to make sure they keep making shots, because if they're making shots, you can't double him, and he will have a tough out if he does that.
He has had his playoff faults, and so he's had it's a timeline from OKC up until now where you looked at him sometimes in the playoffs and you've kind of squinting your eye. But in the regular season, hasn't been too many better than Big Game James these last 3 years. I'm just going to tell you that.
Barber.
Oh, yeah. In the regular season, James Harden, hard to guard that guy.
It's very hard. So let's transition this conversation quickly just into Golden State. Blown out on Christmas Day. They've lost 3 at home now. Just inconsistency that we're not used to seeing over the last 2 months. Your thoughts on the inconsistency?
You know, the one spot we kind of nitpick over the years has been a center spot. But they used to have it done by committee, whether it was Zaza Pachulia, whether it was David West, whether it was JaVale McGee. This is the one area right now they are missing the young guy Jones, Damian Jones, where they don't have a lot of guys in that middle, and they're starting to play small ball, and it's catching up to them. They are missing Boogie Cousins, and they also missing Damian Jones. In my opinion, that's the one area where they're also not as good, and I think also they've been to the playoffs in the finals 4 years. It's just got to wait. They're going to be measured by playoffs versus regular season.
I think it's the combination of the two things you just said. I think it's, first of all, the 5 spot is a sore spot for them. The boogeyman is coming, and they need him. JaVale McGee was big for this team last year, especially in the playoffs. They don't have him right now. Draymond Green has not played well. That's something that you have to talk about. But then when you look at the Bulls and their 2 3-peats, the last year on those 3-peats were the years they won the least amount of games in the regular season. And that just comes because when you go on those runs, it just wears on you.
Yeah.
It wears on you physically, it wears on you mentally. And sometimes the Golden State Warriors probably don't come out with the right mindset for certain regular season games. But best believe you me, when the playoffs start, they'll be there.
All right, guys, we have